Welcome. This is Lethal Nonsense Podcast number 15 with your host, Tristan.
Lance.
And Dwayne.
Yeah, we got a guest on the show. First time in a
Hey.
while.
Oh, look, it's 3 instead of 2.
Yeah. Yeah, these ones are
well-
always nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because, Jeff decided, screw these guys.
Yeah, basically.
It's always
No.
more fun.
It's Fumbles. We
Yeah,
can't say his
Fumbles.
name on here.
Well, he already mentioned his name a couple of times back then, too.
Oh, he did? Because I remember I said Jeff. He's like, Fumbles. I was like, okay, shit, I'll edit that out.
It's his
Oh,
alter
well,
ego.
edit. Just edit all out.
Before we get on our first topic today, ladies and gentlemen, I forgot to announce. I had it on the outro, but I forgot to say it. We are now on Anchor and Spotify, and I believe those links will be in the description. So go ahead and check us out on there. If you're just on the road, you have Spotify, you want to listen to our podcast. If not, you can still do it the YouTube way. So I just wanted to make that announcement.
Which is, cool.
And then we got a Patreon set up, but I don't expect anything from that. But
It's like-
hey, if you want to donate, that's cool.
I mean, all I can say is, give me your money. No, I'm just joking.
I don't think I've been consistent enough to, well, as of yet. Lately, we've been pretty consistent, but, to actually deserve it. But, hey,
Yeah.
the money we get from that, we'll just put back into these podcasts, equipment, whatever.
Yes. That's exactly my mentality. Is any money I would ever get would go right back to whatever's, my channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a new headset, so I don't have this crud on my...
I mean, you sound okay for what you're using.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it is fine.
We're not professionals here. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. We got 8 subscribers. Probably only 2 that listen.
Yeah, I might be a subscriber.
Oh, so you're the number 8.
I might be. I don't know. I'll have to check. I feel like I should be.
well, we're shilling for each other. Because of some of our topics that we're going to be talking about today, Jessica put my channel in the description if you want. If you want to follow me over on my channel, Lance a Little, me and Tristan, starting Monday and alternating days, we're going to start, doing commentaries on video games. Starting with Batman Arkham Asylum Monday, and then after that will be Spyro Reignited Trilogy.
Yeah, I look forward to
Awesome.
those.
Yes.
And if you like music, check out Hannah Avenue on SoundCloud.
Links.
Just
will be in the
can I-
description.
Yes, I was to say, Tristan's going to have a field day with the description.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
And
yeah.
look for him to forget and none of those to be there.
Yeah, I normally edit them like 6 months later.
Yeah, you edited that when we talked about Halo, the TV show. You didn't even give me time to actually edit the joke in.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh shit, this is the one time that I edited a podcast like super fast. It was done within 2 days.
I was at work and I saw you sent me a message saying, "Oh yeah, it's up by the way." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Like the one time it's out super fast. But I can always re-edit it in Spotify.
I mean, that's fine.
I thought it was a great idea. But
I mean, heck, we could even edit it with Dwayne as well.
Yeah, go for it.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, we'll talk to you about that after the podcast.
Let's talk about something interesting.
Yeah,
You want to get into the topics then?
Yeah, fuck one, marry one, kill one. Batman, Superman.
he's like, let's see, Aquaman.
Or Aquaman, that's awkward.
Oh yeah,
It's
well,
like Aquaman. I think I'd rather put him on a fire.
Aquaman?
Aquaman is
Good.
fuck, bro.
Good luck. Yeah. Good luck trying
Hey
to burn
man,
Aquaman.
Aquaman's got the dad bod.
I think so. Yeah. So we want to maybe start off talking about the newer Batman film, and then we can maybe talk about the greatest Batman film of all time.
That's
I mean, Batman and Robin.
I thought, no, Adam West.
dude, George
60s
Clooney is
Batman.
clearly the goat here. Like this, there's no question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, are we talking about like the Batman guy, or like because I feel like movie wise, it's obviously The Dark Knight because Heath Ledger, great Joker, and then the Batman. I think he did a good job. I can't think of his name. What the hell is his
Christian
name?
Bale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Yeah, so we're talking about the upcoming. That's what we meant to get into
Yes.
first.
Upcoming as in it's already out by the time we're even recording this.
Yeah.
We are recording this on the 4th, and the movie has just launched. I myself am going to go see it tomorrow, which will be the 6th. I don't know if you guys are going to see it anytime soon.
I hate theaters. I really do.
And which is, it's one of those movies that's really trying to reinvigorate. Like a lot of movies right now are trying to reinvigorate theaters because I see they kind of need it.
I mean, No Way Home did it pretty well.
Yes, Ghostbusters, No Way Home. Honestly, the theaters did, they proved me wrong. I thought this was going to be the death of theaters, and I'm glad I'm wrong. I hate when it comes to this kind of stuff. I love being wrong.
Yeah, well, movies really aren't that good right now, so I'm hoping this one.
I've heard really good things. I guess as I told you guys before, but my coworker actually played hooky from work to go see the movie, and he liked it.
He likes playing hooky, or he liked.
No, he loved the movie. He actually really loved the Batman movie. Now, I'm sure he also likes, not going to work too, but that's a completely different issue.
I'd play hooky from work to play GTA 5 or 6, I guess.
It's a lot of people did with GTA 5.
Am I wrong in saying that? Did movies used to release at midnight sometimes, or has that always just been video games?
Video games.
I think it's just mostly video games. We could be wrong. The one guy in the comment correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah, I'm not really much of a movie goer. I'll watch them once they come out on DVD or streaming services nowadays.
I will gladly go to a movie if it's something I'm interested in. Like, I went to go see Nobody.
Oh, dude, I still want to see it. See, the problem with that one is I was in Japan. We couldn't go to movie theaters, so I wasn't able to watch that one whenever it came out. I still haven't watched it yet, but I really want to because I love that actor.
Yeah.
But, so, actually, to get into the topic, what do we think about this new one? What's thoughts on it before viewing it?
This is going on. I'm gonna go completely off. Yeah, I'm not going. Well, I'm gonna completely disregard my coworker's opinions of it. He said he really enjoyed it. I'm not gonna go. My thoughts when I first saw the trailer, because I went to go see Uncharted last weekend, or the weekend before. When I went to go watch that movie, I saw a trailer for it. It was the most up-to-date trailer, even though it looked like the same one from before. The trailer looked fine.
I thought
it looked like any other Batman movie.
Because most of the time, everybody, how you always skip ads on YouTube. That was one I did not skip. I was like, oh, this looks pretty interesting. It really caught my eye. It's pretty rare because the only other thing that I really like to watch ad-wise on YouTube is Japanese music when I was in Japan.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely piqued my interest. It's something I would consider going to theaters for.
And for reference, well, let's get through this segment, then we'll talk about our history with The Dark Knight.
Well, I would like to say that. So the director, if I'm understanding, is Matt Reeves. Is the one
yes.
who directed.
Yes.
Now his track record, he did do the Planet of the Apes, those films, the new ones, right?
Yes.
They were awesome. But then he did things like Cloverfield, and you may think it's awesome, but it is what it is. So, there's a chance that this movie, prior to seeing it, prior to knowing a whole bunch about it, could be a good film if it's anything like the Planet of the Apes films. So,
like I said, I'm going in with it with high expectations.
Oh, it is a Batman movie.
Because, yes, Batman is my favorite superhero. But I'm also going in with Batman in movies in the last couple of years because of Batman versus Superman. With Justice League, and I'm not, when I say Batman versus Superman, I don't like the movie. Batman's not even the worst part about that movie. In fact, I think Ben Affleck actually does a fine job playing Batman. It's just everything else is bad.
Henry Cavill's the GOAT.
I will fight you to the death, sir.
But I had no interest in that movie as soon as I heard Ben Affleck was in it. Robert Pattinson, people, ironically enough, there's some people I like to give the benefit of the doubt. I did with Joaquin Phoenix whenever they said he was going to be Joker. People were like, oh, he can't pull this off. I was like, this guy's you can tell he's a little he's got a couple screws loose. So I was like, maybe he could pull it off. You know what? Everybody loved it. Robert
Yeah.
Pattinson, everybody says, oh well, he was in Twilight, so no movie he'll ever be in will be good. I was like, hold up a minute there.
No, just because he's in one bad movie. I mean, every single actor I could think of that I love has been in bad movies.
Just the prequels.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Yeah.
it's like just because they were in a bad movie doesn't mean they're bad actors.
Hayden Christensen's not a bad actor. Samuel L. Jackson, Natalie Portman, Ewan McGregor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every actor has. I mean, look at Robin Williams. He was in a crap ton of bad movies, but he still was one of my favorite actors. Still is one of my favorite actors.
Has Samuel Jackson been in a bad movie? Honestly,
Snakes on a Plane.
Yeah.
So, well, wasn't that intentionally bad? I don't know if that counts.
I don't know if can a movie be intentionally bad.
I don't think Sharks in that tornado shit was a movie that was like this is gonna be huge, and they made the tornado shark. It's whatever. I honestly don't. What is it? Is it Tornado Sharks?
Sharknado.
Sharknado. Okay, yeah, that's more clever than what I would have titled it.
Deep Blue Sea was a movie that actually kind of bored me. That's where he, gets eaten by a shark.
I don't think I've ever even seen that one.
To me, it bores me. It's too much of a boring movie for me. But going back to Batman.
I know.
To me, as soon as I heard Robert Pattinson, as soon as I heard, oh yeah, he's in the movie, I'm like, okay. Taking another actor who, I didn't think would play Batman, but I have no problem with him playing Batman. I think it's an interesting choice.
Yeah, I don't think it's a terrible choice either. I guess would it be your number one? Probably not, but who knows? Yeah. I guess we'll see what the critics and the audience say.
And at the end of the day, we still have, we have these other actors. I mean, going back into another thing where Michael Keaton is returning as Batman in the up-and-coming Flash movie.
I had no idea about that.
Yes. They're copying Marvel with doing, like, alternate universe. Like, you're just entering alternate universes, which is really cool.
I think that's cool, yeah, especially the way they did it.
Yes.
I absolutely love No Way Home.
They're No Way Homing the DC universe.
If DC goes that route, I hope they don't become how Marvel has become. Like, it's pretty much a running comedy the whole time. I mean, they're fine movies, but I think DC has the edge on actually keeping it like a comic book hero type movie.
Yes, DC has always been trying to pull off, like, they're trying to be a little darker when it comes to yes. I think for DC it works a lot better than Marvel, because Marvel, we're still having some dark stories. It keeps it still a little more, I guess you could say, lighthearted most of the time.
I think they focus the more darker stories in, say, like, well, the TV shows like Punisher, Daredevil.
Yes, and those were that's where the darker stories belong.
So they know how to separate them out.
Yeah, they know how to, they know when to direct the darker storylines and stuff, which, like I said, when it comes to some superheroes, it always annoyed me where, that it's what I didn't like about the Man of Steel, which it was to me, it felt like it was trying to be a Batman, trying to write off of Batman's success while being a story about Superman. And I'm like, I just didn't gravitate towards me. The Man of Steel, when you're talking about Superman, you're not doing a brooding storyline, which is what to me, what they felt like they were trying to do with it. Superman isn't Batman for obvious reasons.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, one of them can do anything he really wants.
Yes, and he's not a character who mopes around and broods on top of rooftops. He's a guy who can defy gravity and reverse the rotation of the Earth just by going at supersonic speeds around the planet.
Well, you watched the Batman versus Superman movie, right?
Yes, and I was not impressed.
I don't think most people were.
To me, the Man of Steel and the Batman vs Superman are the lowest point. That was the lowest point of the DC universe, and it showed. a lot of people just didn't care about those movies.
Yeah, I think. Well, so I was talking about in the last podcast, but well, since Wayne was here, I'll reiterate. So basically, DC was trying to go with this whole thing to where they were going to go with a more darker, adult, gritty, serious take on the DC universe, which I mean they kind of do, I guess. But they're going to start up a line of movies called, I believe, DC Black, starting with that Joker film. And I guess maybe they were going to try to have it all in the same continuity instead of just kind of doing every movie doing its own thing.
Which I would like if they kept Joker, like put him in. I wouldn't even mind if they put him like in a sequel of this up and coming Batman movie. Because we do have this Batman, a younger Batman. I would like to actually see Joker involved in that.
Well, I'll tell you something here that I just have been kind of glancing over, and this is according to Screen Rant. Now, these shouldn't be spoiler alerts, but I will say that, and I didn't know any of this because I haven't really seen any real trailers other than just like ads, but not trailers for this film. So
yeah,
I see here from according to this, it says that this movie actually takes place during Bruce Wayne's second year as Batman. So this is almost like a prequel, right?
This is almost this is close to. I have a feeling they're going to be pulling. This is from someone who hasn't seen the movie, has only seen the trailers. It feels like I have a feeling they're going to pull at least a little bit from the Year One comics, which I'm fine with. I like the Year One comics. It's basically where, like I said, it's Batman's young, basically right when he's starting out. He's still learning things. He's still, he's got the abilities and his mind is there, but when it comes to, he's just still figuring out the balance between, being this vigilante, struggling with the cops. He hasn't gained their trust yet. Commissioner Gordon still sees him as a common villain, or, a vigilante going out and trying to serve his own justice. He doesn't have that trust yet. And that's what I'm actually hoping to see in these movies, because that's the one thing I could say about the movies with like the Dark Knight movies. In Begins, he gains their trust very quickly.
Yeah.
And I want to see, I want to kind of see what we saw in the comics where, it was Commissioner Gordon did not trust him very much at all. It took some doing, as it naturally would, you'd think.
Well, of course, with any sort of vigilante like that, I mean, what kind of man is Batman, I guess, honestly, too, with thinking about that? He's already a billionaire, and here he is deciding in his free time to go beat up criminals.
The guy so they go, you know what? I saw a meme this morning. It was like Batman on his way. It's basically this guy walking. It's like Batman on his way to beat the crap, basically cripple a guy for life for stealing like $20.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to do that.
It's like trying to go cause someone have a permanent disability for just stealing $20.
Yeah, he's got definitely a multiple personality disorder.
And I love I opened up Google and the first thing I see is Batman trailer. So,
I mean, is he the most beloved DC character? I don't actually know that. Maybe that'd be.
I would say yes. He is the most recognized. I would say DC, because he's had the best track record with movies, the best track record with games, of course, and he has some of the most beloved comics.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it'd be interesting to hear what the fan base of this podcast would have to say.
This is gonna be if we had a lot of people watching, we have that one guy saying, "No, you're wrong. This is the most beloved comic book superhero and villain. This is why you're wrong, and this is why you're wrong."
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the hardcore audience.
Yeah. Who knows? At the end of the day, he's my most beloved superhero. I'm sure. What would be yours, Tristan?
You're talking out of DC?
Really any. I mean, if we want to keep it strictly to DC, yeah, we'll go with DC, I guess.
I guess I would. Well, I'm not really too familiar with DC, so I guess I would have to say Batman.
According to my very first Google search, the Superman franchise is one of the most beloved and popular of all superheroes in the DC.
Well, yeah, but he's also pretty much the very first superhero.
Yeah, I did that. He took a lot of thinking about, right? The guy that wrote Superman was like, all right, let's think of a character.
The thing is like,
anything he wants.
Basically, the two, I don't want this to sound like messed up or anything, but it was two guys they were Jewish. And from what I've heard, it was them creating a character that's basically like their version of Jesus. A character who basically, do anything, is not bound by the laws of, basically not bound by our laws.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he isn't. He can literally turn back time, right?
Yeah, he can. I don't know. I know he's done it in the movies, of course. My favorite superhero, my favorite superhero or Superman movie is Superman 2.
And that's when he did that, right? He
technically did that in the first movie, but my favorite version of Superman 2 is the Richard Donner cut, where he does that again. They basically just took the that scene from the first movie and then basically put it to the second as well, because both Superman 1 and 2 were filmed at the same time.
Who do you think, and this is serious, who do you think would win in a fight? Iron Man or Batman?
Iron Man.
That would be a pretty tough one.
Yeah, I don't know.
It would depend on how much information Batman has on Iron Man. If he could analyze, figure out what suit he had, what his abilities are, I think he could take down Iron Man.
Well, I think in Iron Man's defense, he's pretty tech savvy. He probably have some sort of software up to say like, yeah, you ain't getting this information, So I don't know. Maybe. But they're both pretty smart, and they're both billionaires.
Yeah. I think it also depends on where it takes place and who has, like, I guess, territorial advantage.
Yeah.
Because if it's Gotham, I'm pretty sure it'd be Batman.
Okay. But if it's New York,
home court advantage.
Yeah. If it's New York, like everything I mean, we have to go with New York in the Marvel universe because everything takes place in New York.
Yeah.
It's either New York or space.
Yeah, in the Marvel universe, New York has been fucked over.
New York has been destroyed multiple times over.
I don't know why you would even live there at that point.
It's like I think everyone people want to live there because all these superheroes are based. I mean, Tony Stark, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four. It's like I think everyone lives there because it feels like the most protected, but because all these superheroes are stationed out of New York, supervillains always attack New York.
Yeah.
Right. So you're at ground zero for these supervillains.
Yeah, you couldn't even go to the grocery store.
Like I said, you're either
it's gonna get wrecked.
Like I said, anything either happens in New York or in space. God forbid you're in the space above New York. Because at that point, you're probably just dead. You're dead before you even know it.
I think if they met in a neutral ground, okay, Batman might be able to beat. You know what? No, who would win an arm wrestle? Because that's who I'm putting my money on. If they subsided it with an arm wrestling contest, which I think Batman would win, then I'm gonna go with Batman. So,
like I said, it would depend on what information they could get on each other, figure out what the weaknesses is. Because if Iron Man figured out, okay, this is just a man in a bat costume.
He's just a man in an iron costume.
Yeah, but at the same time, Batman his suit doesn't give him any superhuman abilities like Iron Man's suit does. His costume is just a actual costume. Yes, it gives him, with his utility belt and everything he has on it, his bat suit allows him to survive things he may not be able to survive, without it. But it doesn't allow him to fly or shoot lasers out of his hands or, chest.
Yeah, the flying might be a deterrent factor there.
Yeah.
But doesn't Batman have his grapple hook?
Yeah, but that's not exactly equivalent to flying either. That's just propelling yourself in one direction.
Right. And if there's
but it could be an advantage.
Yeah, it would be in New York. Maybe Iron Man should meet him in I don't know, in the middle
Desert.
of the desert. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this film should be great for those.
I think it's going to be, at the very least, passable.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because it has a lot of things going for it. It has, it's taking superheroes we haven't seen done. We've seen, whenever it was like, oh, this is the first time we've seen Riddler have this, have the spotlight, basically. And I'm like, nah, it's not the first time for a movie, but it's the first, hopefully, good instance.
Do you happen to know, and maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know if anyone does. Is this a start of a trilogy, or
I believe so.
And done?
I believe it is going to be a start of another trilogy.
Okay.
I guess it depends on the success.
Yeah, I think much like with Uncharted, they're trying to start something. Whether it be a new universe, whether it be a start of another trilogy, whether it be just to tie in with something else, no one knows. I think it's going to be a trilogy. I'm hoping it's going to be a trilogy. And I think if they start at least, going back to Uncharted, if they start with at least an okay movie, which I have a feeling it's going to be at least that, they're going to be in a better position than their last trilogy, which was Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Justice League.
Well, I know that The Dark Knight Rises were like the most DC comic movies, box office results, like revenue generated out of all, like literally all DC movies, and so they have a lot to live up to if it's going to be anything of those sorts.
Yeah.
But with that being said, though, the first one of that trilogy specifically wasn't anything to write home about. I mean, it was still a good movie, but it wasn't near as the success as the follow-ups. So maybe even if it isn't, it might be a trilogy still. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember when Begins first came out, and even it was because it was the first, superhero movie of its kind to do what Batman, to do what Begins did. It was such a success that even news articles started being popping up saying, "Oh, it's starting a new age of superhero movies." Which, to be fair, it was. Batman Begins, started another revolution, or basically a golden age for superhero movies.
That's I would say, at least in the way the DC wanted to take it.
Mm-hmm.
I think The Dark Knight's the greatest superhero movie of all time in general, but
I agree that it is, a fantastic, maybe one of Batman's best. There are a few superhero movies I would put up against it. I don't think I'd put them over it, because movies like Into the Spider-Verse, I even love, this is going back from way in the 90s, but I love Mask of the Phantasm, which is a criminally underrated movie. Came out in the theaters, got crushed by pretty much every other movie, because that was back when animated movies were dying in theaters. People just didn't see animated movie, they didn't watch animated movies, basically. They thought, oh, it's just it's this 2D animated movie, I'm not going to watch it. It's this is back in the late 90s or early 90s. And it just, like I said, it just bombed, I think. I know it didn't do well. And it was sad because, like I said, it was one of my favorite movies. I loved, we had all the animated series voice actors return, and they did fantastic, like they always do in the animated series. And then we had stuff where it took, the animated series, it took darker. I mean, you like, people actually die in that movie. And like I said, it took what we saw with the animated series and what we, with these stuff. I mean, heck, the animated series was so beloved, it created not only Harley Quinn, which became one of the most popular DC characters ever, but it also created a backstory for Mr. Freeze. Before that, he was just a bank robber with a freeze gun.
Right. It is kind of cool seeing the villain movies too that are coming out, like Joker with Reeves. Is that's his name, right? Is that his name? What's that? No. What the hell is the actor that did The Joker.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Mask of the Phantasm, 1993.
Yeah, those kind of off films that are giving the villains kind of a little more take in like the DC and Marvel universe for that matter, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I thought Venom was pretty good.
yeah, like that's kind of cool. But the thing I did like about the Joker specifically is his background was kind of a mystery, and when they kind of exposed it in film, at least,
which we still to this day we don't know if that was the actual Joker who will eventually, square off with Batman, or if it's someone who inspires.
That's what they did in Gotham as well.
Oh, so you think that there's the theory that is not the real Joker, that he's a Joker in the film, but like he inspired someone else.
He inspires someone who will take on that and basically roll with it because I love that movie. Like, it's just as great as everyone says, if not even better. But with that Joker, it didn't feel like an actual criminal to me. He was an anarchist for sure, but I never saw him as an actual criminal.
Well, when he pulled that gun and shot the dude in the face.
Yeah, but that was, that was him just, who knows? Maybe I'm hoping maybe if they are going to go with the angle that is the actual, Batman's arch nemesis, basically, the exact opposite of Batman. Hopefully we get another movie where, now that he's committed that crime, now he's actually killed what was it? Some talk show host? It's been a while since I've watched the movie.
Yeah, it was a talk show host.
They go deeper into that. We see now that he's killed him, we see the further fall of his character. He's like, okay, maybe now that he's, wanted, he's seen as a murderer now, less more of an anarchist now, and just flat out murderer. We see that further fall, heck, even going even darker than the first Joker movie. We see him, turn into this completely insane psychopath.
Yeah.
That the Joker is.
Well, he is a psychopath, for
sure. He is this sadistic psychopath who wants nothing more than to see the world burn.
Yeah, that's true crazy psychopathic behavior there.
Yeah.
No real incentive other than that.
Seeing one of my favorite lines from Arkham Asylum, where he's like, he just wants to see basically the way he wants everyone to see the world as he sees it. In the corner, basically cowering in the corner, laughing and bleeding. And that's what I always found fascinating and interesting about the Joker. He wasn't in it like all the other heroes or villains where they were in it for the money or get their name out there. He just wants to basically screw everything up, cause the world, leave the world in complete anarchy. Yet he has no reason. He seemingly has no reason to do it. He has no reason. You don't know his backstory. And I love the Joker movie and everything. I really do. It's a fantastic movie. But there is also this wonderment you have with Heath Ledger's Joker, where you don't know what his reasons for doing this are. He's just crazy to be freaking crazy. You don't know his backstory because he changes it like 3 times.
Yeah, well, yeah, he really, yeah, and that really kind of what builds the Joker to be kind of what he is, and I think that helps the Batman franchise. Wow, that was difficult to say. The Batman franchise is not only is Batman in a sense one of the most beloved superheroes, but the Joker by himself makes those movies. So when you have a villain and a hero, or so to speak, I guess if you want to call Batman a hero, which I'd say he is in a way.
Yes.
And have two, the most iconic, beloved type of, on both sides, type of characters, that also generates people's interest in that film. So, and I don't think, if I'm understanding it, that Joker is in this film coming out, right?
I have tried to avoid spoilers as much as possible.
Yeah, and that's fair because I don't really know anything, but I'm interested.
I know that the Riddler and I think a few more. Again, I'm pretty sure Penguin is, but that's as far as I wanted to go because I wanted to be pleasantly surprised, or I just wanted to know as little as possible, as I always try to do with some movies. And when it comes to Batman and the dichotomy between Joker and Batman, I enjoy the fact that with these stories you usually know nothing. Even the animated series, you know nothing about the Joker, yet you know everything about Batman. Yeah. And that's that dichotomy. Batman's reasons for doing, being a vigilante, holding, basically serving justice to criminals. He does it for an actual, a reason. But Joker, like I said, you don't know his reasoning. You don't know what he grew up with, You obviously, it was tragic. It messed him up.
Yeah, surely. Yeah.
But you don't know why. And that's why they work off each other so well. Because I am one of those people who believes Batman is nothing without his villains.
Well, he's a billionaire. But I know Batman is that.
Yeah, his character, well, he would still be, probably a beloved superhero. He wouldn't be near as beloved. He wouldn't be near as beloved as he is now if he didn't have these really complex, tragic villains. Like that's what part of Batman is, his villains. That's what makes his story so strong and captivating, and that's what people find interesting most of the time about Batman, is the fact that he's going up against these villains who are, either they're tragic or they're wanting, they obviously have things behind them, adding weight to them. Like maybe Batman, either, him fighting them, he ends up creating his own villains oftentimes.
Well, definitely, in let's say The Dark Knight Rises as an example with Harvey Dent.
That was in The Dark Knight.
Right, and that's just an example. The first example I thought of, as you mentioned, that he created that in a way. He created Two-Face by what he was, in a sense, Batman. What Batman was. So,
in the animated series, he basically has his hand in creating Two-Face in that as well. I believe that's what they pulled from. It's because he chose in The Dark Knight, he chose the girl instead of him, which is what Harvey Dent obviously wanted. Where he chose, Batman chose to save him, and he holds that against Batman because Harvey Dent wanted Batman to save her.
Right.
And he chose to save him because, no, all for nothing, he is more valuable because he was, even Batman himself saw Harvey Dent as this savior of the city. He saw, he basically saw a successor to himself. And the reason he admired him so much was the fact that, Harvey Dent found a way of, putting these people away permanently in a legal way that would stand up in court. Batman, all he could do was punch dudes and basically lock them up. Basically, get them to where, put them in front of the police, showing them the evidence, but that's all he could do. He couldn't keep them behind bars like Harvey Dent could. And that's why at the end of the movie, when Harvey Dent basically erases all the good he did by becoming this murderous psychopath, just like the villains that he was trying to put away. That's why he chose to, in my opinion, honestly, the weakest part of that movie was, I hated how they, at the end of The Dark Knight, he puts all the blame. He's like, instead of saying, showing the world what Harvey Dent really was at the end, he said, no, blame Batman. Instead of, why not just blame the Joker? He's the one who's been killing people all movie.
Yeah.
It's like, just blame him.
Yeah.
But, they needed a reason for Batman to be a villain at the end of the movie, to be hunted.
Right. Yeah. And in my understanding of the movie, he meant to save her, right? I don't know how it is in the animated films. If it was, he meant.
It's been, honestly, as much as I love The Dark Knight, it's been a few years since I've watched it.
Okay. Well, yeah. So in the movie, at least, and again, I don't know anything of the animated series. In the movie, the Joker told them opposite.
Yes, that they're at two addresses.
Yeah, and he told him that she was at one and he was at the other, but that was a lie. And so when he went to save her, it was actually, of course, Harvey Dent, and she died in the explosion, of course. So
yes.
And then, of course, Harvey doesn't see it that way. He doesn't know. But
yes, he is.
All he sees is that Batman chose to save him.
Yes, he thinks that Batman chose, instead of saving, even though he meant to save her, he sees it as, instead of saving her, he saved me because I'm more valuable to him. He sees it as almost like he basically is wrought with guilt, because if she was alive, he wouldn't be. And it's basically almost like the survival's guilt. Sorry. And it is it all makes sense why he takes down freaking out, basically. Also, yeah, I see your back, Tristan.
Yep, we were just discussing the Dark Knight a little bit in the moral ethical dilemma.
Yes, and in the animated series, it's not as complex. It's mostly Batman. To my memory, this is from the last time I watched the episode was over 10 years ago. I remember chemicals were involved. Harvey Dent gets some on his face, starts burning. I think he was fighting with Batman, and long story short, Batman basically helps create Two-Face.
Yeah, and that's essentially how he did it in the movies too. So.
Yes.
Yeah. I wonder if we'll have some sort of moral ethical dilemmas as similar to the Dark Knight as we in this.
I'm sure something will come up. It's, to me, with the getting to the feeling of this is just speculation with the movie. I think there's going to be something with probably moral implications about what he's doing. It's going to be what is Batman, to this version of Batman, what does being Batman stand to him? What does it mean to him? What is the price of justice, basically?
How dare you be a vigilante?
And to be fair, that's not a topic I think that it's brought up a bit in The Dark Knight, where the price of justice costs a lot of people their lives.
Right, but Batman knows it by then.
Yes.
This, to my understanding, is before all that. So
yeah, this is set. I'm pretty sure this is set in a completely different universe, and I'm hoping we get those. I'm hoping we just don't tread water like the Dark Knight movies did. I'm hoping we do. I'm pretty sure they're going to do something new with these movies. They kind of have to
reinvigorate them.
Yes, because the last thing DC wants to do is stagnate their movies, which is kind of what Marvel's doing a bit with some of their. Not all of their movies. Spider-Man has escaped it, and it looks like it's weird. The movies that are surviving this whole, doing the same thing over and over again, are the movies that are actually doing multiple universes now, which is nice. But we're going to see how long that's going to last before it becomes a little repetitive, like some of the Marvel movies got towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of bringing the universe kind of in the same realm of, everything kind of connects is really cool. But I feel like it's just the same punchlines every 3.5 minutes, and they make a comic relief.
Yeah, and that's. Well, I still, their movies mostly still hold up. There were, we were getting to the point where we're having some fatigue.
I haven't seen the new Spider-Man, if we're jumping universes here, but I've heard great things.
I loved it.
It's a fantastic movie. The digital release is not too far off, so you'll have plenty of chance to watch it.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it, especially if you love Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
I grew up with Tobey Maguire, so
did I.
Yeah, and that's,
me too.
If I had to choose, I always wanted to be Spider-Man, and here's why. Because I'm lazy. I would like to spew webs out of my hand and help
grab the remote
up. Yeah,
grab the controller,
pull myself up. Grab my phone, and I think it'd be more exhilarating if I went to, let's say, New York, and I just shot webs out and got that feeling in your stomach, like when you're down a roller coaster.
Yeah,
get that all day, just swinging webs, never making a mistake, and I feel like it'd be too easy to fly. So I would want to be Spider-Man, but I don't know. That's my Spider-Man spiel.
So, if you could choose between Spider-Man and having Spider-Man's powers or Force powers, what would you choose?
Who? The second one?
Force powers.
Force
powers.
I would probably still go with Spider-Man, unless I had an actual real lightsaber. Then it'd be kind of cool. Because I don't want to just have the Force and no lightsaber, but I would want to have Spider-Man's powers and no lightsaber. So, yeah. I'd have
What about Spider-Man's powers with the lightsaber?
Yeah, that would be an interesting twist. No Force, just this,
just a lightsaber,
and then webs. Yeah, I would.
that would be funny to drop down. It's like, okay, stop, criminal. What are you gonna do? Web me up? Pulls out the lightsaber. What the fuck?
Oh shit!
I would web them up and then attack them with a lightsaber. It'd just be brutal murder at that point. I would web them up and then stab them once.
It's like that guy's like, wow, that guy's not a vigilante. That guy's not a super. He's just a straight up asshole.
Yeah, I would not be very good with my spider powers. I wouldn't save anybody. I would just literally swing around.
With great power comes great murders.
Yeah, I would have zero responsibility for my actions. So. I would need a lightsaber also, just for.
No, you swing around so much you kick towards a villain or a guy who's trying to break into a house off of a building and realize you're on a 20-story building. Well, I just committed murder.
Well, I would plead for manslaughter. It'd be an accident.
But you want to keep going back to Batman, or?
Yeah. I'd have to go ahead and web out all the cameras in the city. The police would be like, okay, what?
It's a guy who was never here.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, who committed the murder? Well, pretty sure it's this guy because all of our cameras are useless.
They're covered in spider ink. Is that what? Spider web?
Spider web.
Dude, you'd hate it if you're in Korea. I heard that they have cameras on like every street corner.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, are you talking about North or South or both?
South.
South Korea.
I think that's what I heard.
So, well, North Korea is the communistic one. I figured they would have the cameras. I don't know.
Trying to think because really, not much more I could think about Batman. I mean, it's like.
Yeah, I missed out on the one subject. Like one part of the subject I talked about, which is Dark Knight Rises, because I don't really know anything else, or Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah,
because I don't really know anything else about Batman besides that.
We were just talking about them. If we thought that would bring this newer movie would bring the moral, like dilemmas and ethical dilemmas that Dark Knight had, kind of, and then we start talking about Harvey Dent and how awesome he was. So.
Harvey Dent, the lack of the basically ambiguity of the Joker, where you didn't know where he came from, what past he had, and I'm hoping with this new movie, I'm really, really hoping that they do something interesting with, the Riddler, because he's always been, especially when it comes to, of course, the only movie he appeared in, which was Batman Forever. He was played by Jim Carrey. And just with saying that, you could probably guess what angle they went with.
Yeah. He's a character.
Yeah,
I thought the one in Gotham was pretty good.
And I'm really hoping they do something very interesting, because every time he's appeared in something like that, it's always been a giant missed opportunity to do something interesting with the character. When it comes to another thing is like when it comes to him, he's not as memorable as the Joker, or even I would even say Bane, or a lot of these others. But he, like I said, he has this potential of being a great villain. He has the potential to really test Batman's mental,
fortitude.
You talking about the Riddler?
Yeah, it's like when it comes to Riddler, it's going to be a lot more brains than brawn. And we've seen, the physical side of Batman in these movies, but we haven't seen the brains too much. That's where I really think this movie could hit home is, okay, let's, he's supposed to be known as the greatest, the world's greatest detective. Let's show that this time.
Well, I actually sent riddles to the Riddler to trick up the Batman a little bit. So, and here's an interesting one, because it's actually, I think, filmed in the UK. So, why is Europe like a frying pan? Because it has grease on the bottom. And I think he's going to use that in the film. So I'm really excited to see how that plays out. So.
I mean, the only thing I sent Penguin was a gun.
I'm hoping, yeah, that's what we need. We need the Riddler just to confuse the Batman. He'll be sitting doing Sudokus and riddles at the local pub.
And the Penguin just come up and shoot him.
And the Penguin, yeah. Yeah, so I think that's how the movie starts.
We finally killed the Batman. How'd you do it? Did you trick him into, opening this door and the place explodes? Did you, no, we just had him sit down and play, like solitaire for 5 minutes. We shot him in the face.
Yeah,
it's like, that was that easy?
Yeah. Just tricked him up with some riddles. And then I've actually really never seen the Riddler other than in like video games. Well, who was the villain in Batman Begins?
Ra's al Ghul.
Okay. So no, I've only seen the Riddler in like video games, and he was just
and he was always the side stuff. He was never the head honcho.
Right, and I don't know much about Riddler, but a name like that doesn't sound like somebody who's going to be running the show. So we'll see.
He was always the last thing you pretty much did in all the games where, well, in Arkham Asylum you did them as you went along. At least I always did.
Right.
With Arkham City, it kind of had to be the last thing you did because, well, you would have to go and do the riddles as you got the gadgets, and there are some gadgets you didn't get till almost the very end, so you had to save those for later. And in Arkham Origins, I don't remember because I've only beaten Riddler once in that game, and in Night I've got about 80% done, and by the time I got 80% of the riddles done, I was sick of that game.
Tristan, what do you got to say about it?
About the Riddler?
Or anything? You got anything about Batman you like to talk about?
Not specifically, because I'm not really too well informed on the character. I just know him from like the little bit I've played of the Arkham games, and then the what's it called? I've only seen Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. I haven't seen Batman Begins, which I still need to. I'm pretty sure once we head down to Florida, me and Lance are gonna watch a shit ton of movies.
Yeah, I have the trilogy
on you at all times.
Yeah, it's always in my back pocket.
He's got that thing on him.
Yeah,
I keep it in my utility belt.
Yeah, if you had a utility belt, I'd call you Batman. I'd say, hey, fuck, that's Batman. He's right there. He's going into the family video.
He's the Batman.
We ought to talk about Mass. If everyone played Mass Effect, next time we need to talk about Mass.
Oh, we talked about that, last year. Or, 2 years ago now.
Mass Effect. I think we can, now that we have more people in...
I know that game inside now.
Yes, I do too.
Shit, I might play that, just so I can get up to speed on it.
I mean, it's easier than ever now. You just play the trilogy.
Do you think Commander Shepard would beat up Batman?
I mean, he's got the firepower, but...
Yeah, he's got the Normandy.
He's got the Normandy. He's got, depending on what class you choose, he can make Batman fly in the air for a good, few seconds.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I think an arm wrestle that Commander Shepard has.
I mean, we talking about 1 or 2 where he's got some enhancements to him?
Oh, probably. Fuck it, we can just go 3 where he's got everything. The new Normandy. All that. I think, I personally think if we're going to say anything about Mass Effect real quick, that the first one is the best one as far as gameplay. I like that one a lot.
My favorite is 2.
Storyline is amazing in 2.
I love 2. I mean, have you played the trilogy?
Oh, yeah, of course. Twice. Almost 3 times.
Andromeda was the best, dude.
No, absolutely not. That's the only one I haven't, and I probably won't ever touch.
I own it. Let's put it this way. It's, if you just like going, it's basically, I don't want to say it's a horrible game. It came at a bad time. It was rushed. It was unfinished. It was glitched up the ass. It had, if you play the other game, if you're going into Andromeda as a Mass Effect fan, then you're setting yourself up for failure. If you're going in as just a person who's like, oh, I want to try to get into Mass Effect, you're setting yourself up to failure. If you are going into as just a third-person RPG game, like you just want to run around, shoot some aliens and stuff, you could do worse. You could also do a lot better. But you could do worse. I mean, it's also usually dirt cheap nowadays too, for obvious reasons.
Well, I don't want to play a Mass Effect without butt shots.
Without butt shots?
Yeah, we talked about that.
They toned down the the size of the butts of the female characters in the remaster.
Oh.
And I think the camera angles panning out towards them.
I mean, you could still in the elevators. You could still zoom. You could basically still point it at their.
The fact that you guys even know that tells me you guys.
Well, I only know it because before I bought, when I was seeing reviews and people talking about like the size of the butt differences, I didn't notice a difference until there was actually a guy talking about the remaster, and he actually he played the original game and the remaster, and he put them side by side, and then basically pointed the camera at the characters' butts.
Well, yeah. Now you got me thinking that there's people out there that are playing this game, and like every different scenario as they play, they're like, oh, let's see what kind of angle we can get on his ass before we keep going.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, when I heard it's like, okay, they're dumbing down the character's butt size. I don't care. That's exactly what I'm like. I'm here for the gameplay. I'm here for the, and this is going further in the whole. The one thing I did not like about Mass Effect 3, original Mass Effect 3, was you actually had to play the multiplayer to get the best ending in the single player game.
Oh, is that how that works?
From what I've heard, I didn't beat the game all the way until the remaster came out.
Okay. You're talking about the third one, right?
Yeah, the third one.
Yeah, I've beaten the third one multiple times, and I've replayed the endings multiple times. I've never, though, once been able to get up enough force to beat the Reapers. That's never.
And that, it felt like it felt more of an, they wanted to kind of lock the best ending for, at least on the 360 and PS3 versions, and, the old generation versions. And thing is, a lot of people wanted to get that ending without having to grind in the multiplayer. And I'm glad they fixed that in the remaster.
Oh, okay. Maybe I should play the remaster. I think I got like the old ones. I need to get on it again and try to go through it again, because I was trying to go through Evil on my.
I remember I actually started playing the Mass Effect games on the 360 because I bought the trilogy, and I really love that trilogy. But when I heard, you can't get the best ending, which is what I was striving for. Oh, you had to grind your butt off in the multiplayer. I'm like, that's stupid, because I wasn't interested in the multiplayer.
Yeah, well, see, now you have the dilemma. Do I play the new one, and if this is the way it is, and try to get that ending where I can actually beat the Reapers, and then have small butts, or do I play the old one? And then
to me, it's no contest. I'm going to play the remaster.
I don't know, man.
Because I don't want to grind for a long time. I want to grind my butt off. Maybe that's where all it went. Maybe the characters had to grind their butt off in the multiplayer. That's why they're in the remaster. They're smaller.
Maybe that would make the most sense, because I feel like the pixels aren't I don't understand if they looked at that. I don't know. We got a lot of ass lookers in Mass Effect. We need to tell these pixels back.
And they were just taking a book or a page out of Blizzard's book.
Is that what they did?
They did that with Overwatch.
Oh, they made their asses small?
I guess. For what I've heard, they made the characters' butts smaller because of feminists. I'd rather not go into that issue, though.
But what about women that like big butts? Like, what about them? They can't get any enjoyment either? Like, come on, dude.
And remember, we live in a time where we're not allowed to have fun. But just going back to the whole... what are we talking about now?
Dude, this is lethal nonsense. Almost anything goes.
Almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't talk about big ass.
Yeah, we're talking about ass, dude. Like, shit. What else can we talk about?
Boy, I hope my mom's not listening to this one.
Yeah, Mass Effect's great. I mean,
it is. It's one of my favorite franchises. I mean, it's one of those that kind of lived and died on the 360, just like BioShock and
I was about to say that. Yeah, BioShock.
BioShock, Gears of War. A lot of franchises that were born on the 360 and PS3 kind of died on the 360 and PS3.
Gears of War you can make an argument for, but because the Gears 4 is a pretty good game.
Yeah.
But it's not as relevant as it used to be.
Not as much, and Halo still has quite a hold on that realm of type.
Even they seem like they're not, Halo's doing a lot better. I agree, but they're still not. They still don't feel like they're at their A game like they used to be. It just feels like they're making the Halo games just because you can't have another Xbox without another Halo.
But honestly, I thought Infinite was pretty good.
For what I've played of it, which I played about 2/3 away. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I have the last two Halos. But that's not saying much.
I mean, I don't think the campaign I thought was very enjoyable. The multiplayer, I don't think it's terrible, but I just think it needs some work. It definitely needs work.
Yeah, I agree.
Can't be worse than Halo 4.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't put me to sleep, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go to sleep mid multiplayer game.
Well, I think I've told this story at least a few times, but I don't know if I ever told you the story where we got Halo 4 like the day after it came out, and I put it in the 360, started playing the campaign. 2 hours later, I woke up from a nap.
That is the most unmemorable.
It was so boring, it put me to sleep.
I don't really remember it. I can't tell.
I just remember how 90% of Master Chief's dialogue was, Cortana, what's wrong? And hitting buttons. That's all I remember.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't touch you like Halo 3 did by any chance. Like that was.
I hope not.
Halo 3.
Where does it touch you?
Right in the heart, right by the heartstring, right below the heart, but right above the pubic area.
Okay, I don't think we need to go that far.
It was touching. Well, I was like young when I first beat that game, and it made me, sad. So.
Yeah, well, we also had the death of characters we didn't think were gonna die. I mean, Sergeant Johnson. Okay, I had a feeling. To me, he was one day away from retirement.
Who would win
sad.
Who would win in a fight, Master Chief or Commander Shepard? I would probably say the Chief if he's wearing his uniform. I don't know. I don't know how tough he is without it.
They can probably do some hand to hand and shoot people, but like as far as taking bullets,
But I mean,
because they're all roided up.
Dude. I mean, we've
they're
seen
legitimately roided up.
We've seen how lucky Locke was when he facing Master Chief. AKA, yeah, he wasn't very lucky at all.
Well, and Master Chief, I would argue, has a larger ass than.
He's winning on the size and the girth.
he does. He does squats, bro. He probably squats like 2,000 pounds.
Well, you think with all this gravity change that he's going through, well, they really both go through a lot of gravity change, that their muscle atrophy would be at like an all-time high, but especially Chief, because he's always floating around in space, getting lost. He doesn't know.
Yeah, he does. He does that quite frequently.
I mean,
especially in the books, probably.
Yeah, I'm sure. He's just
in Halo Infinite, you start the game literally out in space.
Yeah. So I'm sure that fucks up his bones and his muscles and.
Yeah, definitely. I think it affects your bone density.
Yeah, there's no way he's as strong as he was, when he started.
Yeah,
and he's aged, but I heard that like his age is a lot less because he's been in cryo chamber for like several years.
His skin is also pale, and he basically has a because of his he doesn't get a lot of sunlight, so his body is naturally paler and basically suffering from not being touched by the sun.
He is white, right? I'm pretty sure he is. He's got to be white. Yeah, he's white. I think you see a glimpse of at least his skin.
Which I don't. This is also probably going to be another issue another thing with the upcoming TV show. I mean, maybe they'll finally take that risk, and we'll actually see Master Chief without his suit. I would like to see it, but at the same time, I don't know if I want to.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to either. You might as well keep it to a year.
Because that's been such a big, what does he look like? And that also goes against the whole thing. The entire reason, or at least the entire motivation of the original Halo 1 game was, he didn't talk much because you were supposed to become Master Chief.
Yeah, that's a cool way to put it, actually.
Yeah, and that's, you were supposed to, he talked very little in Halo 1. And even in the other Halo games, he doesn't really talk that much. And up until I think Halo 4, Master Chief actually never talked well during gameplay.
No, he didn't. And for me, that was kind of weird. In Halo 5, that he actually talked
It
a
was
lot.
even he talked in Halo 4, and that caught me off guard the first
Oh,
time
I
he
forgot
did.
Halo 4.
Yeah, the first time he talked during gameplay, I was like, "This is weird. This is unnatural."
Yeah,
Because
I noticed
it was always that whole your thoughts are his thoughts.
And then the other thing too is I don't remember him talking a shit ton in Halo 5 like he does in Infinite.
And
Because it was weird, but I felt like it was appropriate.
I remember people always brought up, it was like, oh, well, they kind of took that out the window with ODST, where the ODST characters would talk during gameplay. I'm like, yeah, but they have more of a defined. Those are characters' personalities
Different
who are
characters, first of all.
completely defined, which I enjoyed. I love the characters in ODST.
Yeah, I did too. Honestly, I missed them. I love that they brought back Buck in Halo 5, and I hope
I did too.
they're saying they want to keep Halo Infinite going for like 10 years. We'll see how well that goes. I mean, I hope it goes well. I really do like Infinite.
I don't
but
think it's gonna have that long of a blast, that long of a shelf life.
it probably will have like 5 years max in the ADHD era of gaming. But I mean, if they're planning on, which it sounds like they're planning on doing DLCs and stuff like that for Halo Infinite, I'm hoping we at least see, well, at least Buck and then some other ODSTs. And I believe they hinted at Locke being dead.
I mean, I would hate to, that would be annoying if they just, instead of improving the character, they just killed him off.
He was very boring.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's just like the whole, instead of just throwing the character out just because he failed once, and take those failures and improve the character.
They probably can't get that actor back.
Or I don't, maybe that could be the issue, honestly.
Because he's a big time actor.
Yeah,
I know he was Luke Cage, and then he's probably doing some movies by now.
And at that point, I understand, but it's just like the whole one. I hate, like I said, I have a disdain for when there's like, oh yeah, well, this character failed. Basically, the Sega mentality, where it's like, oh yeah, this game, the Werehog failed, so well, we're gonna throw that game out. We're not gonna try to improve that at all. Or oh, Sonic Boom boomed. No, we're just gonna get rid of that. That we don't care about that anymore. It's like, instead of improving, they just ignore their failures and don't even learn from them.
I mean, I think I missed the part of what we're talking about.
Nothing really talking about
they
how
might have killed off Locke.
Yeah,
because they I think they hint at it in one of those dialogue things that you pick up.
Yeah,
the audio logs.
But I thought Spartans didn't die. They just went, they just like went missing or something like that. I think the line was.
I always thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
that was just a cool addition to Halo.
Yeah, it's like they're well. That was still back in the. That was still when that line came out. That was still back when we just had Master Chief. There was, all the other Spartans were either missing or, being a Spartan back then was just like, holy crap, these guys are the elite of the elite. It was basically like being a Jedi. You were basically immortal, and then skip 10 years and now we've got Halo 5 where everyone's a freaking Spartan.
Yeah, Buck is a Spartan.
Yeah, it's like Buck is even a Spartan. Like, don't get me wrong, Buck is one of my favorite characters. He is my second favorite character aside from Master Chief. But it's not Halo 5 that I love him for. It's actually ODST.
Yeah, I love Nathan Fillion as Buck too.
Like he is the entire reason I actually played Halo 5. And I withstood that horrible campaign because I
don't think it was terrible, but like the second time going through it, it was a little boring.
I guess horrible is a little too harsh of a word. It was just underwhelming.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, the first time I played through it, I loved it. Like maybe first 2 times. After that, I was like,
I played through it, about 3 times, and each time it got worse and worse. I liked it the first time. The second time, I think we played it. Me and you played a couple of missions, and then I played the rest on my own. And I was like, it's not. And then that last time I played it about a year ago, I was like, okay, yeah, this is a little annoying. Like it's got its moments where it's it can be pretty cool, but there's a lot of missteps and a lot of stupid things they did.
Yeah, like the ending where Cortana is this
Mhm.
all-knowing, omnipotent being.
And I love the direction they took with Infinite, making
Yeah.
her a non-character, because this, being such a big Halo fan, this may sound kind of harsh, but I don't care about Cortana anymore.
Well, it's because they messed up her character.
It's like after you kill off, after you basically, they want the UNSC already wants her freaking deleted. It's like after all the crap she pulled in Halo 4 and 5, and as much of an unlikable character they made her in 4 and 5, I'm like, I don't care about this character anymore. Just kill her off, do something.
Increase her ass.
And honestly, I like the new AI. I really do. I haven't seen enough of it to really appreciate it. What's your take on it, Dwayne?
You gotta get the zoom angles,
you gotta get. I mean, it's all done in real time, so I'm sure you can probably mod the camera somehow.
But yeah, what's your take on Infinite and the new AI and all that?
I have had, I must admit, a faulty Xbox that will not allow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to play the game. I've played a little bit of multiplayer before it crashes, but I'm just buying a new one because it refuses to operate. So my plan is to get that.
And this is the worst time for your Xbox to brick too, because it's so hard to get a hold of even last gen consoles right now.
I heard,
yeah.
But I tried fixing it. Took it apart, increased its ass size, and readjusted its
and yeah, I mean, my original Xbox did the same thing. It stopped reading. Like the disk drive was going out. I could put a disk in, and it wouldn't read. I could take it out, put it back in. It would read fine. And it was basically intermittent drive. And then the hard drive started being the same thing. Sometimes when I click on the game, it would launch. Sometimes it wouldn't. Sometimes it would crash. And at that point, I just said, you know what? Buy a new Xbox.
Yeah, for anyone that may actually listen, I would say I've tried to go through, if you have our Xbox problems and it's just crashing games as you are starting them or playing them, give up on playing newer games. You can play old crummy games like NBA Jam on Fire Edition or something that takes no RAM. Yeah, anything like that. It'll still work if you're having this problem. And if you try to contact Microsoft, good luck. It won't do it. So, at least in my case, I would.
Well, after you've opened up your console, you've voided your warranty, even if it was in warranty to begin with.
Oh, it's been years. It's old.
Yeah, I didn't think it was in warranty. I think the only Xbox Ones that would be in warranty would be like the last few that were made. Actually, well, to be honest, they just discontinued them, I think, as of a few months ago. So.
Yeah, well, fun fact, my Xbox was the last Xbox purchased at the Kmart that I used to work at. So.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's got it's got sentimental value, sure.
Yeah, even when you get another Xbox, you're just gonna keep it in your closet.
Yeah, maybe the parts that are left of it, keep them around and maybe put them in a display case.
I mean, it can't be any worse than what we did to the original Xbox when it stopped working.
Threw it in the garbage.
No, I was given by a friend Jeff. He gave me his old Xbox, and I had it for about a year. Then it stopped working. I think the power supply it had a problem, just fried everything because there was a big pop noise, and then it wouldn't turn on anymore. It wouldn't. I couldn't even get the disk tray to open. I had to physically, basically, rip the disk drive open to get the game out. So, and Dwayne remembers this because he helped us do it. We took the Xbox back to where our hangout spot, which was in the middle of the woods, and we basically bashed that sucker.
That's the way to do it, man. Give it a righteous way out of the world.
Yeah, we showed it true country justice.
Yeah.
We took that thing out and we bashed it. We threw it around. We took a bunch of old these logs, the sticks, and just threw it, bashed it around and everything. And it was fun. until the fire we had in 2010, where I lost a lot of my games and consoles and stuff, I had the Xbox Jewel thing that was on top of the Xbox. I had that, and that was really cool. And yeah, like that was interesting.
Well, I feel like we've established Batman tonight. Got off a good little rant. I mean, what do you think, Tristan? Where do you want to take it, or you want to wrap her up?
Are y'all good?
I mean, this felt like a good session.
I think it was too. I just kind of got some more things to say. I actually just thought about it right now. So
okay, say away.
It's a little bit of a life update as well. So in theory, I'm kind of an unemployed veteran that's about to go homeless. I'm just kidding. I am actually unemployed now, but not for long.
Yeah.
So theoretically, I should be starting. Well, I have an interview to go, which everything's still up in the air. But I was supposed to start my job 21st of February. I was already supposed to be in Florida.
Yes.
But well, things happened. I kind of lost contact with the recruiter for a little bit, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll just stay here because I was supposed to go to Jersey and do a road trip and all this and that, and that ended up, kind of going to shit. So
on my end as well.
Yeah, and then because a lot of it was weather. Some of it was just bad luck.
Yeah.
But I was also planning to go to Florida, so I was like, okay, well, I'll just cancel the road trip, just go to Jersey. Well, then there's a big ass snowstorm that hits Jersey.
So
then, and then I was gonna go to Dallas before I went to Jersey, just to visit, my brother and one of my other friends who got out the Navy around the same time as me. And then it starts like snowing and the roads are frozen. So I was like, geez, well, I like stopped getting this string of bad luck. But anyways, so if everything goes right, I should get an interview next week and then start work from home late March or early April. So
that's cool.
And then Lance is going to Florida here soon.
And so we will be able to do live podcasts.
And that's exactly what I was trying to get to. Yeah, so we're going to be able to do on video podcasts.
Yes. And we will be extending our hand to Dwayne. We're having him over video chat if possible.
Yeah, I'll feature in and out and say some funny stuff, talk about ass and whatnot.
We are planning on upping our production values when we get down there, putting basically a lot into this, upping the ante, getting things a little more visually interesting. The only problem is you get to see our ugly mugs.
You get to see me wearing a baseball tee every day, especially since I'll be working from home. I just wear whatever I want. I'll have no sense of fashion.
I don't either. I don't wear things because they're fashionable. I wear things because they fit.
Oh, I just lost my sense of fashion because COVID. I had no reason to dress up.
Can you give any listener potential time frame as when you are going to go live?
We'll say,
late April,
probably mid-end April.
Yeah,
middle to end of April.
Yeah,
because I still got to look for her. So I'm gonna be staying with one of my friends for a little bit, but I'm gonna try to get out of there as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So we're looking to get like a 4 or 5 bedroom house to rent, and then eventually we'll move into a house. That's the plan. But so I got to get the place first, and then I got to get the job, secure the job. So, with all that said, hopefully the estimated time frame would be at least at the latest end of April.
And we still will be keeping you guys, with these kind of podcasts.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing these up until the point where we switch over to the more high-end podcasts.
Joe Rogan style.
Yes. Except without the controversy.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Maybe there will be after this podcast. These guys are just sitting there talking about us and they think it's funny.
Pixelated ass. It's a little different.
Hey man, those modelers knew what they were doing. But as we, what are you gonna say?
No, well, I have another announcement. What's your what you're saying?
I already announced when I my channel going finally live with more, more dedicated stuff, and just getting that moving as well, which we will be doing live commentary once we get everything. We will move from some games we'll be playing will be still post commentary, because some like games that he wants to play and games that I want to play. Sometimes, if we feel more comfortable doing post commentary with those games, I would rather, like, for example, a game like the first Mafia, where I'm going to be doing a lot of cutting out deaths and counting like mission failures, because that game, anyone who plays that game knows how difficult it is. And I am way more comfortable doing post than I am live, because I can also play competently beforehand, and then I have, I'm not using my brain to play the game, so I can talk more about it.
Yeah, that would work. I look forward to doing those. Those will be cool.
Yeah, because that's my baby, and his baby is basically this podcast. So we both have.
Speaking of babies, so as of today, I am a co-business owner because my business is now acknowledged by the state of Florida as an LLC.
That's good.
So basically, it's called Simply Raw. We sell naturally derived beauty products like shampoos, conditioners, soaps is what we got for now. We got beard oils coming relatively soon. I'm going to link our Facebook page, and then also I'll link the site once we're finally up and running and we have the store on there. But yeah guys, you should check it out. For now, if you're interested, just message the page. You can see our selection on there, and then we'll have it up on the site as soon as possible.
It's going to start linking everything. It's like link the Twitter accounts, the Facebook accounts, the OnlyFans.
Yeah. I'm just gonna start. I'm gonna set up an OnlyFans so you can watch me cook.
Oh yeah, I'll subscribe.
$10 a month.
I'm just gonna set up an OnlyFans and just be sitting there, looking at the screen, just saying, "This is what you clicked on. This is what you're paying for."
Yeah. So guys, just make sure to. Oh yeah, y'all just gotta make sure to send me your. Well, Lance, I got your channel, so Dwayne, you can link me to your SoundCloud for a little plug.
I'll send it over.
Well, we are just full of shameless plugs today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
But
next we're gonna get sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
Dude, if they pay us, like, shit, I'm not opposed.
You sellout.
But all right, I guess Lisa will do our outro now.
That's all we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Please like, comment, subscribe, share and follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Check out Lance's channel in the description, and if you would like to further support, feel free to become a patron. I hope you all enjoyed this podcast episode, and have a great day.